Welcome to all the students in the lecture on the topic Human Resource Management for the subject RS 601 Industrial Management. The subject is meant for BTech 6th semester students from all the branches. In this presentation, we will discuss about the introduction of human resource management as what the human resource management is, why it is needed in the organization. We'll see the nature, characteristics, features of HRM in an organization. Also, we'll cover the number of functions that are taken place by this department, by HR department, and the scope or the area where human resource management can work, followed by the challenges that are faced by this department as a whole. Next, to start with the topic as introduction of HRM, first we'll discuss what the human resource management is. In the words of Milkovic and Boudreau, HRM is the series of integrated decisions that form the implied relationship, their quality contributions to the ability of the organizations, and the implies to achieve their objectives. When we talk about human resource management and we just divide these terms, then it's simply easy. It's quite easy to understand that to manage the human as a resource within the organization is nothing but the human resource management. And it's an important function of management to organize the resources and to procure the resources, to utilize the resources in a better manner, and so that they can get their goals in an effective and efficient manner. And the HRM specifically focuses on the human as a resource other than the material. The other resources may be material, machines, tools, money, method. And out of all these resources, we can see that human is the only live resource, or we can say livestock. And this is the resource to which the the aim of the organization is to not only to procure but to maintain with the passage of time, so that they can get the increase in productivity, profitability, and expertise. And another definition provided by Flippo to the HRM is the planning, organizing, directing, and coordinating, controlling of procurement, development, compensation, integration, maintenance, and separation of human resources to the end that individual, organizational, as well as societal objectives are accomplished. Basically, these three objectives, there are three objectives. Like individual objective is to grow in financially, as well as in terms of standard of living. Their goal is to increase their standard of living, the lifestyle. Whereas when we talk about organization goal is to acquire more and more profit, acquire and to serve the society in a better way, to enhance their stake in the business. And the social objectives are to work for the betterment of the society and earth. And all these objectives are accomplished by the procurement, development, compensation, integration, and maintenance of the human as a resource in the organization, because human is only the livestock, and the people are itself are responsible to make the society, to build the society, and to retain the society, to retain the environment. So the aim is integrated decision making, and decision on different aspects of employees are consistent with the other HR decisions. Next slide, we will see the need of HRM, that why HRM is required. As I told you that the procurement as well as acquisition as well as compensation of the human as a resource in the organization is subjected to, is associated with the fulfillment of the goal of individual, organizational, as well as societal goals. And to fulfill those goals, HR is essentially required in an organization. They are the people who not only recruit the people, but they are the responsible one to to procure it as a resource and retain it in the organization for the betterment of the organization. Some of the points that can be quoted in the reference of the need of HRM, which provide the need of the HRM as to anticipate the demand of the required number of personnel in the organization. HRM, human resource management as a department, is required. To hire the people in the organization, HR department is required. To access the organizational goals and meet the same with the human as a resource, the HR is required. To provide the job security and good working conditions in the organization to the workers, HR is required. They recommend the top management to facilitate their employees, their customers, their stakeholders. To be an ethical and socially responsible organization in order to fulfill the need of society, HRM is required. And to enhance the standard of living of the employees working in the organization and outside, obviously in the form of stakeholders, the investors, the responsibilities of the concern is big. And to employ the skilled and professionally qualified workforce is again the basic task of the HR, and that is why human resource management as a department is required in the organization. Next, we'll see the features, characteristics, nature of the human resource management as a department. It's a pervasive activity. Whether the concern is manufacturing or the service, HR is the activity. Procurement as well as retainment of the resources is the activity that carries in each and every kind of environment. And it's an action-oriented department. We can say it's an action-oriented study that provides study and practice that helps to not only require but also promote or demote on the basis of the performance of the employees who are working in the organization. And so it's an action-oriented science, we can say. Another feature of the human resource management as a department as it is individually oriented, as individual is directly correlated, directly coordinated, and directly in contact with the human resource departments. As they get the salary, compensation, bonus from the organization, from the department only within the organization, and so the HRM deals with each and individual, and they perform their function in a comprehensive manner. Like they have to deal with each and every department within the organization. And we can say that HRM is the people oriented rather than along with the individual oriented, and it is interdisciplinary in nature just because they have to work with all the cross-functional team, all the people who are having from different background, different department within the organization. Next, we can see that there are a number of functions that can be performed, that are performed by the human resource people and the organization. They have to not only perform the regular managerial functions like planning, organizing, directing their day-to-day activities, coordinating the activities, and controlling the activities, but also they perform their operative features like to provide employment, to develop the persons who are working within the organization itself by providing them proper compensation, and to maintain the healthy relation within the organization. We'll see all these operative functions in detail. However, we have seen the managerial functions in the previous lectures. And to start with, the first and foremost function of the HRM is the employment. When we talk about employment, HR have to not only plan the human as a resource within the organization, they have to anticipate the number of people which are required in order to fulfill the task within the organization first. The first and foremost function is associated with the HR is to forecast the demand and supply, the gap between demand and supply, that how much people are required and how much they are having. And accordingly, they have to plan with the help of number of techniques that are used. We can say the forecasting is a process of estimating the number of people which are required as a resource in order to meet the future needs of the organization. The techniques which are used to assess the numbers of people in the organization may be ratio trend analysis, regression analysis, work study analysis, Delphi technique, flow models, as well as managerial judgment itself. We can see that some of the techniques are of qualitative nature and another techniques are of quantitative in nature. We use both type of data, statistical as well as the inferences based on the requirement, and take the decisions to acquire, to plan the human as a resource in the organization. When we talk about supply forecast, it determines whether the human resource department will be able to procure and required number of personnel. They are able to provide to compensate properly. Whether they are not exploiting the resources they are having. Specifically, supply forecast measures the number of people likely to be available within the organization itself, and those who are prospects, we can say, those who want to serve the company, they also comes under the supply forecast. And this particular analysis covers the existing human who are the existing people, executives who are working in the concern, the internal source of supply, like the internally if the post is vacant and one who is working as on ad hoc basis, he can be taken as the permanent employee. And from the external sources also, there are a number of sources, and for which we'll talk in the subsequent slides. Next, an important function of human resource management in a particular organization is to first plan about the number of people required in order to perform the task. In the words of David A. DeCaso and Stephen P. Robbins, the HR planning can be defined as the process by which an organization ensures that it has the right number and right kind of people at right place and at right time, and they are capable enough to efficiently and effectively perform those tasks which help the organization to achieve their objectives. Human resource planning translates the organizational objectives and plan into number of workers needed to meet those objectives. Without clear-cut planning, estimation of the organization's human resource need to reduced to mere guesswork, unless and until will not involve in the rigorous calculation of the to maintain the proper supply of the worker within the organization, will not maintain the gap of demand and supply within the organization, then we cannot meet the goal of organizations. There are various factors which are affecting human resource planning, as the factors are the type and strategy of the organization. The organization, if it is small, then obviously the work power, the people who are working in the organization will all be low, will be small, not small, small in numbers. And another factor is the organizational growth cycle and planning. If the organization is not growing, then obviously there's no need to acquire the new resource, new people in the organization, since the one who are working in the organization, they are not compensated well, just because of if the growth is not there. And next is the important factor, that is environmental uncertainties are there, and so each and every concern have to acquire adequate amount of people over there in order to meet the demand. If the demand arises immediately or frequently, then in order to meet those demands, some provision should be taken care by the management, so that they can hire more and more people in the organization, and they can plan accordingly. Next is the time horizon. If the company is looking for small term only, and then the number of people who are working in the organization may be enough. But if they are looking for extension, diversification, or establish a new plant, then they have to take care about the planning of human as a resource in the organization. Next factor that affect human resource planning is the type and quality of the forecasting information. If the information regarding the need of people in the organization is not corrected, not verified properly, then it may possible that organization have more number of people uh, as they required. And the nature of job being filled is also an important factor that is taken into consideration while planning human as a resource. One more type of arrangement can be taken then can be takes place in order to take the work from the people is outsourcing them. Outsource their services, which nowadays we can see extensively such type of practices like work from home and such kind of exercises carries by a number of organizations. It may be a process, it may be a possible plan to outsource the services of the experts who cannot work at a particular place, but they can provide their guidance on continuous basis. Next and foremost important task that is carried out by the HR people is recruitment. Many people confuse with recruitment as recruitment and selection are the same. But when we talk about recruitment, it's a process of identifying the applications of prospects. The prospects are those candidates who are having adequate education and qualification, as well as they are having the skills required to work in the organization. So the recruitment is nothing but the process to create a pool of like eligible applicants, which are which new employees which new person are selected within the organization. Recruitment can be processed through a number of resources. The resources may be either internal or as well as external, and number of factors affect the recruitment process. Like there are some external factors like supply and demand, the gap of supply and demand. If there is not if there is not the availability, if the educational availability or the people who are skilled enough are not available, then obviously it's a big factor that provides the need of educational as well as training institutions. And next is that the unemployment rate is the factor that affect the recruitment. Next is the labor market, their availability, political and social factors are associated with the recruitment, like political pressures may arises in order to recruitment policy, in order to change the recruitment policy. Next is the sense of soil and image of company also. Image of concern is also an important external factor that affect the that affect the rate with which the prospects apply in the company, or the rate with which the company get the pool of application from the at the end of applicants. Some of the internal factors that affect the recruitment as a process is the recruitment policy of the company. If the recruitment policy is not effective, not efficient of the concern, then also recruitment rate will be slow. And next is the HRP, human resource planning. If the planning is not properly done, then recruitment is not possible. Size of the firm also matters a lot. If the company size is small, then obviously there is no continuous recruitment of recruiting the people. No need to invite the application from the applicants. Next is the cost. Cost is a big factor that associated with the recruitment process to invite the application through with the help of advertisement. For this, advertisement as well as marketing strategies have to be prepared properly, and it involves a cost that matters a lot. And the growth as well as expansion policies, expansion of the firm is also important factor. Just because if the firm is not expansion, not takes place expansion related was expansion related steps, or if the firm is not growing, then there is no need to invite the pool of application. Obviously the applicant will not apply in that particular concern in which the possibilities are not seen. Some of the factors like internal sources we can see in the subsequent slide, as well as external sources also, through which the companies can hire, can invite the applications from the pool from the applicant. The internal recruitment process involves the current employees who are working in the organization on ad hoc basis or temporary basis. They can be permanent, recruited permanently. The reference from the present employees, if the present employee provide any kind of reference, then those referee can be taken as the applicant possible for the recruitment purpose. Data bank that is having with the company within the HR department, HR personnel, by the in the form of former applications, or the numbers, the details of the applicant. They also helps a lot to recruit the people in the organization. The retired persons who the persons who retired from the organization, they may be used as a resource to whom the company can concern about to recruit the people, and the former employees who have retired again from the organization, either voluntarily or properly. Next, there are a number of advantages. We can see that internal recruitment process is having less costly as compared to the external recruitment process, in which candidates are already oriented towards the organization, and it enhances the employees' morale and motivate them to work within the organization. And however, some disadvantages are associated with the internal recruitment, like if company takes the people from the reference of the people who are working in the organization, it may be possible that some kind of unionship maybe arises in the organization, and it perpetuates the old concept of doing things. The policies play an important role, and the morale will obviously boost by the people who are culprit, especially, and who don't want those who don't want to work properly in the organization. They can invite their relatives and friends of same nature, and so the productivity of concern may down. And when we talk about the external recruitment resources, then externally company can recruit from either through advertisement, employment agencies, executives, recruiters, college recruitment, campus recruitment, referrals and walk-ins, and pool interview, inviting the company's website, invitation through the website of the company, and free and paying website services like Naukri.com, Monster.com, and Job.com. Next, there are a number of advantages to invite the application from the applicants from the applicants outside the organization through the external sources, like it truly depicts the picture of the company, image of the company in the mind of the people, that what the people think about the company. And compliances with reservation policy becomes easy by acquiring the people from the external recruitment sources. Scope of resentment, jealousness, and heartburn are avoided. Yes, if the people who are working in the organization, it may be possible that the people are jealous together, and they want to reduce the productivity of the concern. And the disadvantages are associated is the cost is itself. The cost is the prime factor which is involves in the recruitment process. Next, we'll see the selection process. The selection is the process of differentiating between the applicants, the pool of applicants that is available with the HR department in order to identify those with a greater likelihood of success in the job. The selection of a candidate will be with the right combination of education, work experience, attitude, creativity will not only increase the quality and as well as stability of the workforce in the workplace. And there are a number of factors which affect the selection of the candidates who apply in the organization. There are a number of external factors as well as internal environmental factors are concerned, like what are the policies of concern, what is the planning policies, the cost involved in the hiring, and the external environmental factors that affect the selection processes, the gap between supply and demand, how much people are required. Obviously, they will be selected only. And the unemployment rate also affected, like if the people are not skilled enough, then it may be possible that company is not selecting the possible executive, the prospects among the pool of application. Some legal as well as political considerations also affect the selection process, and company's image also affect the selection process. If the company's image like that, they are a big concern, then obviously they will not entertain the people from the malpractices or from the reference only. They obviously will want to get the one who is professional. Here is a process of selection given that is that starts with the preliminary interview, the screening of the applications invited during the recruitment process. Next, in the next phase, after the preliminary interview, companies can take the tests of the applicants, and the test may be related to the ability, aptitude, to check the aptitude of the candidates, to check the personality as well as their interest. And finally, they have to take, during the selection process, interview has to be taken. Interview may be individual panel interview, or it may be sequential interview. And after interview process is over, the reference as well as backgrounds of the candidate have been checked in order to judge their declarations. And next is to take the selection decision. Ultimately, the approval of the selection of the candidate from the top management is to be taken, and followed by the medical examination, if any, and if conducted. After that, finally, the job offer is to be provided to the applicant, to the selected candidates, and a formal employment contract has to be signed, mutual consent. And last but not least, the entire process is to be evaluated by the human resource people so as to improve the process if the chances may be. Next, we'll see the induction. Induction is another important task that is carried out by the HR people. Once the person is selected in the company, then to make familiar and properly and formal welcome of an employee when he first joined in the company is known as induction process. And during the induction, the company provide the brief history and operations of the company. They also provide the knowledge related to the products and services in which the company deals, the organization structure, policies, procedures of the companies, rules, regulations, and daily work routine of the company, safety measures that are taken by the companies, wage policies, working hours, benefits, and services to the employee provided by the organizations are to be communicated by the employees, as well as the opportunities for the training and promotions can also be communicated by the HR people to the person who is recruited, who is selected within the company. This particular process, induction process, is entirely different with the training. Training is entirely different, and one who enter in the organization is formally welcomed in the during the induction period. Whereas if he or she is feels by an untrained professional, then the firm has to take the decision to train him by the proper training and development programs. And we can see that training is a process through which the aptitude, skills, ability of the employees to perform the specific jobs are increased. Training is essentially required if the worker, if the new technology is acquired in the organization, so to make familiar to familiar the employee with that technique, training is essentially required. It may be either vocational or short duration or apprentice type of training that is provided by the company to the personnel who are working, as well as the prospective one, the one who would be the future employees of the industry, in the industry. There are a number of techniques of training that are popular, that is on-job training, vestibule training, classroom training, apprenticeship training, and internship, a kind of internship. The development is associated with training process itself. It's a systematic and organized procedure by which the managerial personnel learn conceptual and theoretical knowledge for a general purpose. There are a number of techniques that can be achieved, that can be taken into consideration on job as well as off job techniques to develop the employees who are working in the organization. They may be as the coaching, as position rotation of position, job rotation, we can say, the assigning of the new project to impart the people in different committees. Off-job training includes lectures, case studies through the group discussion, conference, as well as role playing. The development of executives who are working in the organization can be ensured by the HR people. Next, an important function that is carried out by the HR people is to analyze the job who are working in the organization. First, it is important to define job. What the job is nothing but the collection or aggregation of the tasks or duties and responsibilities which are assigned to the individual employee. And job analysis is the process of studying and collecting the information related to the operations and responsibilities of a specific job that are performed by the that are proposed to the employee. And the immediate product of this analysis are job description and job specification. When we talk about job analysis, it is related with job description, that is a list of job duties or responsibilities that is listed while the applications are invited during the recruitment process. And job specification is nothing but the list of human requirement in terms of skills and education qualification, that is that may be in terms of personality as and so on. The job analysis involves a number of steps. First, the information is to be collected, and after collecting the information, the accuracy is to be checked, and writing the job description based on the information of the job available, and by using the information to determine the skill, ability, and knowledge, and update the information from time to time. By this way, the HR people can analyze the nature of job and the people and the qualification as well as set of skill that is required to do such kind of activities within the organization. Here, the students usually get confused with job analysis and job evaluation. These two are entirely different. Job analysis is the next task, that is on the basis of job evaluation, either promotion or dismissal decisions can be taken place, and dismissal is the most drastic step that is taken by the organization with reference to the employee who are working in the organization. It can be only occur after the reasonable steps to rehabilitate the employees have failed, and the grounds for dismissal of a employee from the organization is possible causes may be the unsatisfactory performance, the misconduct, if conducted by misconduct behavior, or the activities are carried out by the employees, or is having lack of skill. And this is another task that is performed by the organization, by the HR people, that is organizational renewal. We know that organizations have to take the decision related to extension of the plant as well as to opening of a new plant. In that scenario, in that condition, organization renewal has to be takes place, and if the firm is going to establish a new plant in a particular geographical area, then they have to take care of out the number of aspects. These aspects may be strategy. They have to look for the strategy, their mission, vision, policies, the culture of that particular area, the socio-economic culture, the structure of the society, the technologies that they are having, and the skills of the employees. They have to take care for the change, for implementing the change in the organization. And that is how the company, if want to change the organization, then they have to formulate the policies and implement that with the help of proper management of HRM, the formulation of strategies as well as technostructural activities. Next, we can see the last slide that is related to the scope of HRM. As HRM, as I told you earlier, it is not limited up to the organization itself only. This is the versatile activity that is carried out by each and every concern, that may be either manufacturing or service concern, service industry. They have to deal with the procurement, remuneration, motivation, maintenance of the relation within the organization. They have to maintain the industrial relation with the competitors, as well as number of stakeholders like vendors, customers, etc. And they have to take care about the listening, also the communication among the different stakeholders. And there are a number of challenges that are faced by the HR people, like they have to acquire the correct person, those who are having the adequate educational as well as skills, professional skills. They have to maintain the one who is working in the organization with the help of fair compensation policies, and to convince the higher management about the investment on training and employees welfare programs. And they also have to work on to handle the grievance if arises in the organization. These are the challenges, possible challenges faced by the HR people in the organization. Now, you students, thank you for your kind attention.